Okay, I'm back. So now we'll talk about 9/11. So today is September 11th, 2018. It's only got an hour left before, well, less than an hour left before the day is over. So I just want to give my little thoughts on 9/11, the day of the attacks, a day that we've been celebrating for the last 17 years. And oh, hey, Devin, you still awake? Yeah. The day we celebrate for the last 17 years, as you guys know, 9/11 was an event that happened in New York City in 2001, where two twin towers has crashed, or two planes crashed to twin towers, and it, killed a lot of people, and it was one of the most devastating tragedies in modern American history. Like, you know, yes, I mean, the fact that we celebrate it every single year just tells this, just lets you know how big a deal it was, because for me, for me, I get why people are crazy about it because it was like the first true terrorist attack we gone through as a country, from like because before 9/11, like all terrorist attack that happened in America was mainly domestic terrorism. We haven't had a terror attack from like another country since World War II. So it's been like 70 years prior to 9/11. So that's the reason why people are like going crazy about it. But I really didn't hear much about 9/11 today and where I live because as you guys know, we did with hurricane situation in North Carolina and South Carolina. So I didn't really hear about 9/11 too much on the news, but I was hearing about it on like Facebook and Instagram, from my family members who live in New York and stuff like that. But my thoughts on 9/11, I mean, it's a bit interesting because I was starting kindergarten when it happened. I was 5 when 9/11 happened. So, a lot of people who talk about 9/11 on YouTube weren't even alive when it happened. They learned about it through their parents or whatever. But I actually was alive and actually, have some, I guess, some conscious memory of it. Like I remember starting school like late that year, 'cause, in like the 2001 year because because of the whole event and stuff like that. I remember being here. I remember being in North Carolina, where I'm at right now. That summer, and then having to go back around like late 2001, somewhere in 2001, when I started kindergarten. So, I kind of have some connection to it because again, I was 5 years old when it happened, but I wasn't like traumatized by it because I was so young. You know, so it was kind of interesting how something that happened in my lifetime, it's so like, ingrained in people's heads and so like, ingrained in people's consciousness. Because when we talk about tragic events in America, we talk about like the Civil War, we talk about World War II or um what else? We talk about World War II, you know, the civil rights era, JFK getting shot, like stuff that happened like, 50 to 100 years ago. But 9/11 is something that happened, when I was like alive and stuff like that. It happened, in the 21st century. So it is kind of interesting to see, how people view 9/11, you know, especially people who were old enough to remember it, people who were in New York City when it happened, and people who weren't even born yet, but learn about it through school, through their parents. It is interesting to see their perspective on, September 11th, 2001. So I'm just, I'm thankful that I wasn't in New York when that happened, but I was living in New York when it happened. I'm thankful that, I wasn't traumatized by the event because so many people lost their lives. So many people have family members that got killed during that day. I know my brother, he was working in like Lower Manhattan, during that time, and he had to run like for his life when the Twin Towers fell. So it traumatized a lot of it traumatized some of my family members who was in New York when it happened. But but I'm thank God that he's still provided. He still take care of his people, and I'm just so thankful that that I was able to survive through that tragedy and many other tragedies that came later in my life. As I got older, I started, and I started paying attention to the news, I was hearing, with Hurricane, Katrina, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Matthew, Sandy Hook, all these school shootings that happened these last couple of years, all these, um, cops killing, black people, and it just so amazing that this stuff was happening. That I'm living through one of the most chaotic times in American history, and like I'm so young, like it's just crazy, and it's the reason why people are so concerned about Generation Z because they were born right when this stuff was happening, like right when all this stuff I just named, they were born into all this stuff, all this chaotic stuff. They were born right into that stuff. Like I mean, I got I got people on my channel who were born in like 2008, 2009. So they weren't even so they were born right when the recession happened, right when Obama got elected. So they were literally was just in diapers when we was like worried about jobs and we was worried about another depression. Like it blows it's mind blowing to think that what seems so recent to us is so like long ago to them, and it's like wow, like I literally lived. I've seen so many of the historical events in my life, and I'm only 22 years old. Like, just imagine when I get like 30. Just imagine when I get 50. Like, I'm gonna be telling my kids a lot of stories about the stuff I seen, that I the stuff I witnessed throughout my lifetime. So it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I'm just glad that again I was alive. That I'm old enough to remember it, but young enough to be naive to it. So yeah, with that being said, this is Mario signing off.